pace in the rain, and I would say that's our secret weapon at the moment, because we haven't had much testing. It's always just been kind of like plug and play in the races, and that's maybe the advantage, because no one's really has been able to test with this tire yet. So yeah, we obviously got a bit lucky with how we set up the car for this tire, and I think it's important now to use that advantage as long as it's lasting.
It was quite a demonstration during the race. You had a gap of 15 seconds and even more. So, but you also had some little bit mistakes in that. So it wasn't that easy, even with those good working Pirelli tires.
Yeah, I think these races are difficult, especially at the Nürburgring, where it rains more, sometimes less. There were phases of the race where the track was almost quite dry, and then one lap it rained a little bit more. I braked more or less the same braking point and just overshot turn one, but luckily there was a bit of runoff and nothing too dramatic.
So was there any tight situation during the race, or was it everything under control?
There were a couple of times, you know, where you have some cars coming out the pit lane after their pit stop. They come in front of you. You obviously hope that you don't lose too much time. This time I was lucky that I had a small gap to the guys behind, so I didn't need to take any risk on overtaking. But yeah, of course, those are like the moments where you just try and survive, not do anything silly. But yeah, we kind of did that with no problem. So it was quite a relaxing, not a relaxing race, but a race with less drama than I expected. Surprisingly, also no safety car or no full course yellow. Normally in these conditions, DTM has some of the most crazy races. So it was quite a surprise that there was no safety car today.
And at the end of the day, you are back in the championship lead by one single point. So how does that feel?
It obviously feels great. I would have loved to have it before the summer break, because I then probably might have had 1 or 2 beers more. But right now, it doesn't make a big difference. At the end of the day, we try to maximize our package every weekend. We try to have fun with what we're doing. I feel like I'm driving probably as good as I've ever driven, with not really pressure. I think in the past I always had some pressure, and right now this season I'm coming with a different approach to my racing. I want to just enjoy it more. I'm racing a little bit less than I did in the past seasons, which is also doing me quite well, because I have time away from the track. So every time I come back, I feel refreshed, I feel excited to go racing, and I think it shows on track.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Then moving on to P2, Mirko Bortolotti. Mirko, great performance from you, but he has the third P2 in this season. So finally, you can't get your hand on the first position, on the victory position. So you must be quite a little bit.
Well, honestly, on days like these where you have no chance to fight for the win, you're really happy to finish second. Maybe there are other occasions where I wasn't really that happy to finish second. It really depends on the day, it really depends on the race. Every race has its own story. I think today, yeah, I think we did the best we could. I think I would have signed for P2 at the beginning of the race when I saw the weather conditions. As Calvin said, we've also been here testing on that day, and we struggled big time in the wet. So for me, it was clear that it's not really the best thing to happen before the race. So at the end of the day, finishing in P2, you know, trying to keep it on the road, and at the end the pace was quite okay. Looking at the rest of the field, obviously he was absolutely flying, so there was no chance to really challenge him, but it's great to go out of the day like this with the second place.
There was at the start of the race a very tight situation with the two Mercedes from Windward, with Maro and with Lucas Auer. So but you could maintain the P2. Can you tell us a little bit about that situation?
Which situation you mean? At the start?
After the start with the two Mercedes-Benz, they moved very close to your car.
Yeah, well, at the start, I mean, we started behind the safety car as well, so the gaps were quite small. I think I saw them fighting behind me. They swapped positions, or at least Mara managed to pass Lugi. So they were fighting a bit, which gave me a chance to just defend my position, but I never really got in a danger situation there. So I never really felt to be attacked from one of them. So I think the first lap was quite clean, and I managed to defend the place quite well.
How difficult was it during the race in these conditions? So you're quite experienced in all kind of Nürburgring conditions. So how difficult was was it today?
It was different. I mean, I've had many races here in the wet, and I must say that this tire feels so different to what we've been driving before. I mean, I've been here a few weeks ago in GT World Challenge, driving still the other Pirelli spec in the wet, and it just feels completely different. So I don't know, we need to investigate what we can do in order to get a better feeling, you know, better performance out of the tire. But at the moment, it's so weird, and we don't have much experience. I mean, not just us, everybody. And yeah, I think there's some work to do and understand better how to extract more out of the tire.
So tomorrow is a new day, new race. So how would you judge your chances to leave the Nürburgring as championship leader?
It's hard to predict, as usual. You know, today was a good day. It's the only thing we can talk about now. Tomorrow will be a new day. Let's see what the weather does. If it's going to be wet, if it's going to be dry. We will take whatever conditions we have, and we try to do our best job for the day. How the chances are, difficult to predict, but I think it's not really a crucial thing to go home in the championship lead after this weekend. If you have it, it's good. If you don't have it, it's also good.
Okay, thank you, Mirko. Mauro, so you ended the season with P2 at the Nürburgring. Now, after our small summer break, back on P3, and also moved to P3 in the championship now. So must be a good day for you.
Yeah, for sure. Was a good race for us. Tried to do everything we could, obviously, to try and get another position with Mirko, but I think our pace was quite similar to his, and in the end, yeah, P3 is another podium, and we can be happy, and especially the team did a very good job. We had a very good pit stop and a good strategy and a good car, so big thank you to the team.
You already had a good performance yesterday, and the day as quickest from the free practice session, so you had a good Nürburgring weekend. So are you a little bit now back on track, where you think in the right direction?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as we mentioned before, we had an issue in Zandvoort, which was quite clear on the results. We were at the back in every session pretty much, and the guys did a great job finding it, and I think we're back on track. I think in a season like this, you know, you're bound to have some issues, so it's about how you deal with them, and now we look forward. Obviously, from a championship perspective, it's the wrong two guys sitting next to me, but you know, what can you do? We look forward to tomorrow, and we'll have another go and see where we are there. But for sure, I think it's still many races to go, and it'll be very tight as usual.
You had all the race company with your teammate Lugiawa. He came very close to your car, or you to his car, depending on which perspective at the start. But after that, the positions were quite clear, or.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I knew I had to attack at the beginning to try and put the guys in the front under pressure and see if there's a chance to overtake. It's quite good that I managed to get past Lugi before turn 5, but then there was no further chance really to make more progress. Yeah, so we'll go back, analyze, and see what we can learn from today's race, and do better next time we get on a wet tire, because obviously Kelvin's showing that there's a lot more potential out there. He was already quick at Lausitzring, and now he's quick again here. So obviously they're doing something better than the rest of us.
Yeah, it's a Lausitzring race in the wet. You were also quite having a great race, finishing in P2, if I recall correctly. So the new Pirelli tire must be quite working well on the Mercedes AMG.
Yeah, for sure. The tire is a better tire. It's I think it's more grip, it's faster, but obviously we saw already there that Kelvin had a different pace, and today it was confirmed again. So he's showing us that there's some homework to do.
Okay, thank you, Mauro. Sven, I guess you have some questions.
Yeah, thank you. Congrats to you guys, especially Kelvin, of course. Yeah, you did the fastest lap in the end of the race with a bit of a gap to the rivals. Was it so easy for you to throw out those times, or was it also a little bit to don't lose the focus, to just do a quick lap?
To be honest with you, it's always difficult because you're trying not to make a mistake. You obviously look like pretty silly if you go off in the lead with such a big gap. So it's difficult in the front to really push to the limit. I think the other two guys are probably pushing a bit harder. But at the same time, I'm still trying to push because when you relax too much, normally it's easier to make a mistake. So yeah, for sure, I felt very comfortable out there. And it helps when your engineer always tells you that you're on a good pace. It lets you drive a bit more freely with less pressure, and that makes a big difference.
Before, you also said that the new Pirelli tires is a bit of a secret weapon. What is so crucial about these tires? How does it feel? And is it about the tire pressures or about the Audi car that works very well with the tire?
It's hard to say. I mean, on the last tire, it was always about tire pressures. When you had very, very wet conditions, you needed to go crazy high tire pressures. And then, you had the old generation tire has been around for like 4 seasons. So everyone kind of knew the secret in different conditions. Whereas with a new tire, there's no testing. So I think if you just get a lucky shot with either the tire pressure or the setup or the car works well, then at the moment it's an advantage. But for sure, 1 year later or in 2 years' time, everyone will be very close together. That's why I'm saying, it will not last forever, this advantage. For sure, the other guys will catch up at some point. There's a lot of clever guys in the paddock, and they will figure it out. It's just we need to maximize it now while they're still trying to figure it out.
You were talking about this new approach of yours, and you have a really strong season this year. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more. What is it all about, and is it important for you to have time off from the racing, not to have it on your mind all the time?
Yeah, I think it makes a difference. I mean, every driver is different. There's some drivers that like to race every weekend. I mean, I know these two guys next to me are racing like absolute madmen every weekend. I think every weekend I'm lying on the couch, I have to watch them on my TV. I'm not very jealous, to be honest, because I've done that in the past, and I've had seasons where I do 30 races a year, and by race 20, you don't want to drive anymore. And it's not because I don't love racing, it's just because it's human that, if you eat pasta every day for 365 days, at some point you don't like it anymore. And so for me, it was important this year to do a reset, drive a bit less, drive different cars. I've been racing Formula E, I've been racing in WC with another manufacturer. I've been doing Lamborghini on the Nordschleife, and I've been doing the Audi here. So I've just been building on my toolbox, learning different things, how different teams do things, and had some time off to focus on myself. So obviously it's working.
Thank you.
Further questions?
Kelvin, well done. Biggest winning margin of the year by a mile. Well done on the donuts as well, entertaining the crowd. Just to ask, before the race, it's about 45 minutes before the race, the rain started to come down. But how much time did you have, and how confident were you that it was going to stay wet? Did you go to a full wet setup, or was there some sort of compromise there?
I was hoping that it would be a full wet race. I think the ones where you don't really know what tire to put on the car are, for everyone, very difficult to judge. So I think most of the teams were happy to see that it was a proper wet start, and there was pretty much only one decision, that was wet tire. And then, yeah, like I said, we had the test here a couple of weeks ago where a couple of teams were testing in the rain. And so we knew exactly what to put in the car for the race. So I think it made our life quite easy in that sense.
Maro, quick question for you as well. You got yourself up to third in the championship now. You've done it kind of with one hand tied behind your back for the first 3 rounds because qualifying has been a struggle. That's completely turned around now. Last 3 qualifyings have been really good. What's been the big step for you there?
I think in Oschersleben it was more ourselves. Just we had a great car on Friday and didn't stay on top of track conditions changing. At Lausitzring we started to develop an issue on the car, which we ended up finding after Zandvoort. So I think these cars they go through a lot in a season of DTM, and you have to stay on top of things as much as you can, and the team is doing that. And I think it's the same for all the teams up and down the paddock. I know Kelvin had an issue in Oschersleben, and the margins are so small that if you have the tiniest thing that's not working like it's supposed to be, can be a small €5 component, then you're not there. So I think that was a big factor. But overall, I know I have a very, very strong team, strong manufacturer behind me. So all the efforts being put in to give us the best possible car. And this weekend the car's been working really well. So now we just need to keep working and keep digging.
Yeah, Mirko, final question for you. The team had to work hard today as well, because those pit stops are so difficult anyway, but imagining when it's slippery and wet, they're even more difficult for the team to get things right, and you had a really good pit stop as well today.
Yeah, sure. I think looking at this track, the approach is quite slippery, so you can easily overshoot your pit stall and stuff like that and lose a lot of time at pit lane, but everything worked out really well. I think we had a really clean pit stop today, so I know that that the potential is there, and we've proven it also last year consistently. This year we had some troubles here and there, but I know that the quality we have in the pits and how good our pit crew is. So yeah, I'm glad we could prove it today with a really good pit stop, which was really important to stay ahead of Mauro as we pitted together. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to build on that and have consistent, strong performances in pits as well.
Cheers. Thank you. Well done all.
Further questions? No? Then thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the very wet afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.